Walter and I attended a lovely tribute to him from the Film Institute in Los Angeles. And we stood up together on the platform. I said, here we stand, survivors of the Wyler Wars. And so two of the milestones, the human milestones along the brilliant road of a superb director. And what would you like us to say? And so on. And we had a few jokes, you know, because he was kind of 50-take Wyler.
That was true then?
He would, yes, yeah. He would get into a jam and have to shoot his way out into some kind of a mental or aesthetic jam, and he wouldn't tell anybody. Why? So we were going absolutely crazy. For instance, there was a scene, the audience has just seen the film, haven't they? Mm. Tonight?
Yes,
yes,
oh, yes, they've just seen it, now they're meeting you.
Oh.
It's like, I know, it's tremendous.
Oh, really?
You can talk about it. No, talk about it.
Well, they might remember a scene when we were, early scene, when we were filing into the church. This was the day that war was declared, and the victor interrupted his sermon to make this terrifying announcement: our country is now at war. And everybody was dismissed to go home and take care of things that needed to be done. Well, we're all filing in. Of course, everybody in those days was aware of the danger, but I think nobody ever quite believed it would happen. It was wishful thinking, of course. But as we went in, the little boy, 7-year-old, I was holding him by the hand. And as we walked in, I think I was turning and talking to some nice lady as we went in. Just rhubarb and sausages, not real dialogue, I mean, just sound noises, crowd noises, moving into the church. And the little boy reached out and picked up the heavy lion and ring door handle on the door, church door, and let it fall with a great clonk. And I looked and said, shh, you know, and pulled him. And apparently that piece of unrehearsed business so charmed Willie that he thought he would do it again. Because he didn't quite get it. He wanted the camera to concentrate on it, so he switched to it or something like that. But he didn't tell us. He may have told the cameraman, he told nobody else. So we filed in, the little boy came in very good and nice and didn't do it. So we did it again and again. 28 takes, it was time for lunch. We came back. We did about 28 more. Anyhow, it was something like the 52nd take. The kid finally leaned out and did it again. Cut, said Wyler, that's it. And we said, what was it? Well, he said, I can tell you now. I didn't have to tell you because the little boy would have done it in a self-conscious way, and I wanted the business to be just as it was before, quite spontaneous. So we had the crowd moving in and out, you know, over all these hours, because he wanted to get that. He was a perfectionist.
He must have been.
You know,
that's a wonderful story.
And he was very, very severe with the beginners. We had some people who were rather inexperienced in the picture, and he rode them hard. Again and again to get it right, you know.
You must have been proud to get that Oscar.
I was, he was, I was, we all were.
Your acceptance speech is legendary.
Oh, please, don't make that joke again.
They're clocking 43 minutes.
No, that's not true. It's clocked at not quite 5 minutes, but I've seen it reported in the English press and the American press as 2 hours and a half. But I droned.
It'll be in the Guinness Book of Records. Yeah,
well, maybe, but it's not correct because
no.
I have the evidence. Anyhow, it was quite a modest speech. It was too long because at 12 o'clock at night, because at that time it was a rather informal meeting. We had dinner and nothing was regulated for TV timing or anything like that. And I was extremely tired. I'd been up since 4:45 that morning. I'd been working in Madame Curie, which was a heavy picture to do. And I was so tired, I had a blinding headache, and I took the opportunity, which I should not have taken, of course, to say that I thought the nominations were reward enough. 5 nominations in each category is wonderful. It means you've had one of the best opportunities of the year, and in the opinion of your peers, you have risen to the opportunity and done a professional job. That's enough. But to choose one arbitrarily and give them a lovely statue, I just thought that was wrong, because I don't think that acting is competitive. It's not a racetrack, a horse race. It's not. It's a loving, giving, exchanging thing, and we all support each other. It's a wonderful and generous occupation, and it's a great discipline, because we're only as good as the weakest link in the chain, and we depend on our technicians, on every man who is moving on a boom shot and stops 2 inches short of his mark on the floor. You have to do the scene again, even if you thought it was the best and you gave your heart and spirit to it. Even so, if it was out of focus, you have to do it again, or if there was a camera wobble, or if one of the Clyde lights sputters, and there's a distracting change of light, you have to do it again. Or if there are noises off, if a donkey brays not on cue, or if an airplane goes over noisily from the back lot outdoors shooting, we have to do it again. It's a great discipline.
A colleague of mine suggested the other day we were talking that he thought Mrs. Miniver, brilliant, gorgeous picture, but he found it sort of a Hollywoodized version of England. I didn't live there during the war. I'm just wondering how accurate you found it. I thought it, from living over here, the picture was right on with respect to the British middle class life, but how did you find it?
I thought it was too.
Yes.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
And I'm quite familiar with that life because I come from it myself, and proud to say so. The Lord loves middle class people. He made more of them than any other kind, you know. Anyhow, I have been surprised to hear young critics who are not old enough really to know what they're talking about, discussing the picture of British middle-class life, and they thought it was a little snobby. I don't think it's snobbish at all. Not at all. The maid, delightful actress, who behaved very politely, and it was very funny, she hooked the door with her foot as she went out with the tray, you know, and cried when her boyfriend was going off to war. It was simply delightful. It was all very real, and the shopping and the pleasant station master, I don't know what they're talking about. I thought and the appurtenances, the home was rather pleasant, but after all, Clem Miniver was an architect, and I imagine he did a rather nice job on his own house, and the house was not overly grandish at all. So I
you
really...
hear sometimes some critics with respect to a picture that's been fantastically praised,
yes,
and they must say something
a little
new.
nitpicking, yes. They want to be
nitpick.
quoted as saying something that's hostile a little bit, you see. But I am very, very happy to be part of that picture and that legend.
Well, it's wonderful to hear you say
And
that.
you know, MGM were really very generous. They could have held it back when they smelt the sweet smell of success from the early previews. They could have held it back for special release. But President Roosevelt asked them to get it out in general release so that as many people could see it as soon as possible. I like to think that it had something to do with dispelling the last traces of isolationism in America. I don't blame people for not wanting to get into a war, not wanting their sons and husbands and fathers to get into a war. But of course it was not a skirmish over in Europe. It was a global war, and it would have affected America disastrously anyhow if the freedom-loving countries had been overcome in Europe. America would have been next. So I'm very pleased to think it had quite an influence, and I understand that Winston Churchill said it was worth a flotilla of destroyers.
Yes, isn't that what
It's a nice remark,
man,
and we were very...
What a man he was.
Very glad. Oh, indeed, yes. What a leader.